HVAC gauges, hoses in particular, blue hose, yellow hose, red hose. The question here is what hose does what and for what color hose serves what purpose. The blue hose actually is used for the low pressure side to measure the low pressure PSIG, which was pounds per square inch gauge or something along those lines. The red is to measure the high pressure, so the superheat may be done on this, and the subcooling may be done on the red. And oftentimes the charging is gone from the tank or whatnot, wherever the refrigerant tank goes through the blue, perhaps. So, but question: what is the yellow hose for? Simply, the yellow hose, it could serve perhaps three different purposes, if not more, plus or minus. I'm not sure. The HVAC techs can elaborate on that. But the yellow hose, this hose here is a you would unscrew the hose here, screw it onto the tank of the refrigerant. Once screwed onto the refrigerant tank, then at this point you would you could add refrigerant to your system. It would come through here, come through the system here, and then open this gauge up here and allow it to throttle through on the low pressure side. So you could use this as a charging hose. Now also one could use this as a vacuum hose. So a charging hose would add refrigerant. The vacuum hose would actually pull a vacuum. And one may ask, what is a vacuum? Good question. A vacuum simply being, one can take an analogy, say a car tire, and you put air in a tire. But the vacuum would be kind of in reverse as you were pulling, if you were pulling air out. And if you would pull it out, you would need a vacuum pump. So this would, one end would need to be hooked up to the gauge here, and then the other end would need to be hooked up to the vacuum pump to pull the non-condensables, the any moisture, air out of the line, so that the refrigerant can work at optimum levels. Because the refrigerant inside of the system needs to be clean inside, free of debris, moisture, air, and that sort of thing. It needs to have simply be working on the principle of refrigerant, not other items. Now, another thing this could perhaps be hooked up to is a recovery tank. And perhaps a recovery tank may take refrigerant from the unit if the unit is not working, or I'm not sure, I guess it would be off. And then perhaps you could recover the refrigerant and recover that in a separate tank, whether that be good refrigerant, bad refrigerant. So now do keep in mind on this yellow hose, sometimes some of the people may take and get a larger diameter hose here, say I'm not sure what size this is, maybe a quarter or something, but maybe get a 3/8 hose and connect it up to the vacuum pump in replace of this yellow in the spot where the yellow is located. And one may ask, well, why would you need a larger hose? If you get a larger hose, you may pull down a vacuum at a faster rate. It would be a speed issue. So again, let's recap here. The yellow hose could be used for adding refrigerant to the system via the gauges, via the low pressure side. Two, could be used pulling a vacuum on a system. Three, could perhaps, and the HVAC guys may need to give me some help here, but could be used on the with a recovery machine. So a recovery machine and a vacuum machine are two separate entities, but and neither one are cheap. They're anywhere from $300 to $800, so they're They're not cheap. So anyway, the yellow, again, recap, the yellow hose can be used for charging, vacuuming, and perhaps, not certain on this, but on recovery with a recovery machine and a recovery tank. So, and again, now this yellow hose can be replaced with a larger diameter hose, which may speed up the process of pulling a vacuum. So again, low pressure blue, high pressure red, charging hose, and I'm not sure if this is the correct terminology, but for this intents and purposes, a hypothetical or fictitious, we say, call this a charging hose, and this would be unscrewed, this would be screwed up to the tank. So the yellow hose serves 3, perhaps more. I'm not sure. If anybody knows any other uses, if they would comment on this, that would be wonderful. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.